All right. What's going on, party people? This your man Griff. We got a nice, easy training session tonight. It is the loan application. That's right. Now, not a whole lot of people talk about loan application, but they are the most important part of this whole mortgage process. Why? Because they are the beginning of the process. Without the loan application, there is no closing of any kind of loan because the banks, the brokers, any other lender has to determine whether or not Mr. Hart, our applicant, is credit worthy to receive a loan of any dollar amount, whether it's a HELOC, reverse, you name it. He has to submit an application. That's what we have here in order to make sure they are able to get the loan. All right. So now here's the thing you got to understand about loan applications. A lot of times they move very fast. Mr. Hart could receive a phone call first thing in the morning, maybe even the afternoon, but nonetheless, Mr. Hart gets a phone call. Hey, we was under the impression that you want to get a loan application. And more than likely, Mr. Hart might have, and let me back up a little bit, he might have submitted a request to inquire about a loan application. And now he had 5, 10, 15 people calling him saying, I can get you taken care of. I can get you taken care of. And he finally decides, hey, okay, Brad, I'm going to go with Brad. Brad says, no problem. We'll get somebody out there to your lickety split. Brad goes to a signing company calls me or sends an order out. I accept it. And then here I am calling him saying, Mr. Hart, I'm Mr. Griffin, the notary. I'm going to be out there to help you fill out your loan application. And I'm not helping him fill out. He's actually just going to be signing it because they've already gathered all that information. And there might be a few things that he has to fill out on his, himself. But for the most part, it'll be already taken care of. He say, not a problem. Come on out. I'll see you at such and such time. I go out there. I'm going out there with the loan application paperwork. And that is it. And then I have my scanner in order to scan the documents back because more likely these documents here are the documents that he needs to send back to them proving his income. W-2s, Social Security, retirement pay, you name it. So there's a couple of ways that I handle this when I get there. If he has already or she has already given the loan officer this information because they may have it already packaged it up, they may have scanned copies of all of this information already, or they're astute enough to do it. So they might do it, and then the loan officer gave them a secure portal link to upload it. Then it's done. There's nothing for me to do with this information right here. I won't even see this. This will be off to the side somewhere, not seen. However, if they have not done it, or they're not familiar with how to upload it, they just have it scattered all over. They go collect it and then they bring it and then I take care of it. Now, what can happen is they could either, by the time you get there, still looking for it. So you have to wait. And while they're looking for the documentation, and they will give you a list of what they want. And what I do is I hand them the list and say, sir, ma'am, this is the information they want from you. Can you please go gather that? They will say, not a problem, Griff, we got you covered. While they're doing that, I say, can I please see your IDs? While I have their IDs, and now I'm filling out the US Patriot Act, because more than likely there will be one in there. I fill the US Patriot Act out with their ID information, and most of the time they just want one, but sometimes they may want 2 forms. And while I'm doing that, they get the documentation and they bring it back. Now, at this point, one or two things is going to take place. They're going to give me, first thing they're going to do is give me the documents. I'll have them, and the next thing is going to be, they may want to read over this. And if they want to read over this, not a problem. There you go. You go ahead on and read over that. And while you're reading over that, I will take the checklist and I will make sure that you have everything in here. And I'm going through the checklist while they're reading, and reading. Now, they might decide to sign after they've read, but that's up to them. But while they're doing it, I'm also paying attention. And I'm going through, okay. And if I start seeing them sign stuff, I'm watching to make sure they sign and date. Now, now that I know that I have everything I need, I throw it in the scanner, scan it back, If you have the Raven, you can upload it to the secure cloud, or you can pause, let it pause, and then add the rest of it to that initial scan. So they have that done. This is all done. I give them that back, and they'll go through and make sure that they read everything. And some people will either read everything first, then go back and sign, or read and sign at the same time. Now, the other option is they say, well, you know what, we can't figure it out where this, that, and the other, but we want to go and get the paperwork signed. Or they might say, well, you know, we can't find any of that and we need some extra time because, you know, this has happened so fast, we just haven't had time to dig it up. At that point, I'm getting on the phone, calling the loan officer, or they may call the loan officer and say, hey, Brad, they don't have the paperwork that you want, all of the documentation. How do you want to proceed? Do you absolutely need it right now? Or do you just need to get them to fill out to sign the application and it's sent back to you? Majority of the time, they'll say, look, just get the application done, sent back to us, and we'll get with them to get the rest of the information. Because they can't go forward without that information anyway. But what the loan officer want is that one document that says intent to proceed, and that they have every intent to proceed with at least applying for the loan. So they want this paperwork back, and all you're there to do is to make sure it gets signed, dated, initialed, and sent back. Okay? If that's the case, now you can either one page at a time hand it to them. However, you decide that. Okay, between you and them, you decide the flow. Okay, that's your role there. You figure out the best flow to get them to sign it. If you see that they're not really paying attention, they might be all over the place, you might want to give them one page at a time. If you see that they're pretty astute and they're focused on what they want to do, they may just want to hold the whole loan application, and again, like I said earlier, and read it. And you let them do it, but you pay attention throughout the whole process. Now, once all of that is done, you got the scans, then you scan what they've signed after you verify that everything is done correctly. And then you can upload it to the cloud if you're using a Raven or whatever particular scanner you're using, save it to your SD drive. It's up to you. At that point, it's time for you to roll on out. Now, you would have three options to deliver this back to the loan company or the signing company. They may say just scan it only. You did that. Or they may say scan and ship. They have a shipping label. Or they may say ship only. Whichever one they ask you to do, that's the one you do. And majority of the time, they're going to want you to do it in black ink. Don't question it. Just get it done. Sometimes they might say it doesn't matter. Now, for you slicksters, you say, well, if I'm only scanning it only, I can have it done in blue and they would never know. You're correct. That's up to you. Okay? And when you if you're only doing the scan only, ideally, keep the documents around for a week or two. Sometimes they might ask you to keep them for 2 weeks and then you shred them. They're not going to call you up and say, okay, it's shred time now. You can figure that out. You know you did it on a Monday, 2 Mondays from now. If you don't hear anything back, go ahead on and shred them. So that is really it. Now, let's talk about the loan application and a little bit more about the importance. Again, there are a lot of people who will tell notaries don't do these. You need to do these because a part of marketing 101 that you probably didn't get taught is this. If you do the loan application, you can always request to have first right of refusal for the closing, meaning you want to be asked to do the closing before they submit it to anybody else. You did the closing, the loan application, you have a rapport with Mr. Hart. Why not also ask for the closing to go back to meet Mr. Hart? The majority of the pages that you see in your loan application, guess what? They're going to be in the loan closing packet. So you're familiar with them. And guess what? Here's the best part. If you're a YouTube channel member, all you got to do is, call me up and we will sit down and do a document review of the closing packet to make sure that you're straight with going out there and getting everything done correctly. You're not a YouTube channel member, just click the join button and you get all the perks and everything, and you get document reviews from me for however many closings you need to get done. And typically most people only need about 5 or 6 document reviews, and they're good to go because by then they're comfortable and know what's going on for the closing package. So do the loan application. Is a great way to get on the radar for those signing companies or title companies if you get a direct call, but most likely it'll be a signing company, and you get an opportunity to do the closing if the signing company is on their game and they're like, okay, yeah, we'll give it to you, and you made a good report. You got experience, you made some money. It's a win-win situation, okay? So that's it for the loan application. You got any questions, comments, put them below. Let me hear from you, and I will answer you back. Till then, go out there and make your money. Peace.